Welcome back to Face the State. I'm Ariana Bennett. Thank you for staying with us. Well, in the last segment, we learned about the process of opening a medical marijuana establishment in Nevada from the state perspective. Now we get to hear about what it's like from one of the businesses. Dr. Joe Crowley and Steve Roush are here with Sierra Wellness Connection, which is getting ready to open soon, I understand. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Pleasure to be here.
Okay, so I want to start off with the generals. Just tell us, what is the Sierra Wellness Connection? Whoever wants to take it, go right ahead.
Well, Sierra Wellness Connection is a company that's based in Reno, and we are focused on the medical aspects of medical marijuana and the medical marijuana industry here in the northern Nevada area. It's been legalized, as you know, and we are one of the first companies in the area to be licensed, and we're just really excited about having the opportunity to help pave the way for the industry.
And it is a dispensary, correct?
Yes, what we have is a total of 4 licenses that we obtained from the state. 2 of them are cultivation licenses that allow us to grow medical marijuana, and 2 of them are medical marijuana dispensaries. One dispensary, of course, is in the Reno area here, and one is in Carson City. And we also have, of course, a cultivation facility in both Reno and Carson City.
Well, what's the process been like going through, I mean, I imagine a lot of red tape and government hurdles you've had to get through to get to this point?
Yes, it's been a long journey. It's been an interesting journey. We've got an excellent team. We have a very good plan that we've put together that we've managed to execute very well. And we've had a little bit of good luck. So, but it does have a lot of interesting pieces to it that are important. Compliance is part of that. We've worked very closely with the state of Nevada, as well as the city of Reno, Washoe County, all of the entities that are part of the compliance process. And because we were one of the first to get involved and we're one of the first to get licensed, we've also been part of their education process too, in terms of understanding this industry a little better.
Now, how close are you to being fully operational?
Good question. We'd like everybody out there to know that we are going to be opening our Reno dispensary in mid-August, and we're very excited about that because there's a lot of folks out there evidently that don't believe the medical marijuana business is going to get going here in northern Nevada. It's been a long time, and they've been very patient, and we want everybody to know that we're going to be opening our Reno dispensary in mid-August. And then we hope to follow that up with our Carson City dispensary in about a month later, in September.
All right, now, Dr. Crowley, that must be exciting for you to now be at the, close to the end of this development process and almost ready to open.
Yeah, well, it's a place I never anticipated being. I retired several times over the course of the last 15 years, and I thought I was retired really after the last one, which took place 9 years ago, but I'm still working. And so this came along, something I just never anticipated being part of, but it's been great fun to be associated with a startup of something that is going to be, in my opinion, very good for the people of Nevada. And it is controversial, we all recognize that, but it is, from my point of view, it is part of, as far as marijuana is concerned, medical marijuana is concerned, we're really part of a revolution.
Now, you went from you being the president of the University of Nevada, now to this. I understand there are some personal reasons for that decision. Tell us about why you wanted to go into the medical marijuana business.
Well, 2 things, and I'll be quick about it. One is that the legalization of marijuana for someone like me, who grew up in a generation where marijuana was the demon weed, and everybody seemed to buy into that except the folks who smoked it. And so that got me to reading about the medical side of marijuana and finding out about what medical marijuana can do for pain, which is a lot, and what it can do for multiple sclerosis, which is not a lot, but something very helpful. And so I had a brother who had medical marijuana for 31 years, and I remember how he deteriorated over that period of time, and his sister, who went through 13 major surgeries, living through pain every day. So it was a natural for me, since those are two things that medical marijuana can be very helpful with, to migrate when my friend Stephen Nightingale, our founder and major investor, asked me if I would join the board. So I said yes.
It's a pretty big difference from your previous career, and I think many people were surprised about it, and some probably questioning, because as you mentioned, it is controversial. What message do you have for people who say, I don't want this in my town?
Well, they're certainly entitled to their opinion, and lots of folks have learned over the years that this is something really terrible, but the history is something that put it in that position. It used to be part of the American pharmacopoeia, which is the accepted drugs, and then when the Narcotics Bureau was formed back in the 30s, the guy who started it started a war on marijuana for really bad reasons. Won't go into detail because we don't have the time, and it just got worse from there, and it got worse when the war on drugs came along. Lots of arguments along the way that this was the wrong way to go, because it is an herb that is at least 5,000 years old, used for medicinal purposes. That history never got out to the public. You can read it now, though.
So you think it is an inarguable thing that it should be legal and available to people for medicinal use?
Absolutely do, because it can, it doesn't cure diseases, but it certainly helps with a whole bunch of them. And that's what appealed to me, and I think to all of us. We became believers in the likelihood that it is an herb, but it is a complex herb with all kinds of strains that can do all kinds of things, and there's a lot of research that needs to be done on all that, but it can help. There is no drug that I'm aware of that doesn't have a downside. You only have to watch a commercial once a day to determine that, because they all have downsides.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the facility a little bit. Part of the, I think, opposition to medical marijuana facilities is that they're worried about security and worried about weed getting into the wrong hands, getting into teenagers' hands, or people who don't have medical marijuana cards. Tell us about how you're going to keep your facility secure.
Well, I think the best way to start to answer that question is, when you think about Nevada and you think about gaming, the gaming industry, it's a highly regulated business that the state has been regulating for many years, and has been, of course, an extremely important part of our economy for a long time. And I think a fortunate thing about our state and medical marijuana, when they decided to regulate it and put some rules and regulations around it, is that they had a lot of that experience to draw on. And so in terms of the safety of the product itself, there's a lot of compliance that is involved with that, making sure that it's tested, making sure that it's safe. There's a lot of security requirements of the facility themselves. You have to have a lot of cameras. You have to have a lot of things that allow us to watch the product and monitor the movement of the product. There's very extensive software programs that track the movement of all the inventory. So all of the things that you might envision that an industry like this needs to have in place is definitely out there. And we are very transparent in our operation and work very closely with all of the regulating agencies, both on the state and local level.
It's kind of akin to a pharmacy, only one with even more security measures. I think I read that there's not even any loitering allowed out on your front porch, right?
Well, we would obviously watch that and keep an eye on that, but once a person enters the facility, they have to have a medical marijuana patient card, and without that card, they're not allowed into the dispensary area at all. So yes, we need to be very careful about who enters that building and who those patients are, but we're real excited about it because there's a lot of people who've been waiting a long time, and we're going to have a first-class facility We're going to have well-trained and knowledgeable staff, and we're going to have great, consistent, affordable products.
Have you had a lot of interest from the community already?
We've had a ton of interest. Yeah, we've got everywhere I go and I talk to, it could be the dry cleaners, it could be the person that cuts my hair, certainly the doctor that I see. They're all seem to be very positive and very excited about what it is we're doing, and we'd like them to be, because it's coming and it's going to be very beneficial, and they should be excited.
So is there any message that you would have, I already asked this question, but to any neighbors who are concerned about having your facility come into their neighborhood, or people who just don't want it here?
Well, I think, you know, the neighborhoods are, I guess we're reasonably close with the cultivation facility to a neighborhood, but you have to be a certain distance. That's part of the regulations, and so we are. The cultivation facility is not in a residential neighborhood, so.
Well, right, but I know that some people have had concerns in the past. We have just about 30 seconds left, but you know, so you haven't had opposition from the other stores in the area?
I believe the best way to answer that question is with the word education. People need to go out, they need to investigate, they need to read the data, they need to understand what medical marijuana is now in relationship to what their preconceived notions or what they may have known in the past. And if they do that, I think they'll find some very interesting facts that are on a positive level.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. I so appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Great discussion. Good luck with opening up.
Thank you.
That is it for this episode of Face the State. But for more information or to see past episodes, just head to our website, ktvn.com. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next week.